Hi everybody, my name is Jim and welcome back to another episode of Make Do Mondays. I hope everyone had a really lovely New Year's Eve day. I spent some time with some friends and it was just a really nice time. But let's get back to Make Do Mondays because it has been a minute and this is take 2 for this video because of my microphone woes. So finally going to finish the 3-part, whatever you want to call it, the 3-part series on the recipes that have come out of the Grandma's Wartime Kitchen. So if you recall, the first one that I did was, what was the first one I did? Creole cabbage. Yes, and that was lovely. And today will be the California chicken, and then the last one will be the carrot pie, which I'm really interested in seeing how that goes. But anyways, I know I'd read these before to you. I'm gonna read this one about California chicken again. It says, by 1943, canned tuna was hard to buy because the tuna fleets had gone to war. Nonetheless, producers never stopped telling homemakers in their magazine advertisements that they would soon be able to serve their families recipes like this one. Actually, this dish would be equally good with any cooked fish leftovers. And there's basic ingredients here, and I'm just going to go through them quickly and then I'll show you what it's going to look like with their exact measurements. So you're going to need potatoes, carrots, either fresh or canned green peas, some kind of a cooking oil, a medium onion. You're going to need flour, salt, pepper, milk, and then a can of tuna. And then to finish it off, you're going to need breadcrumbs. So I have a couple of the ingredients here. I'm just going to go ahead and get everything prepped so you can see exactly what it looks like when it's ready to be prepared. And I'll show you the exact measurements of that. So I'm going to get chopping. Okay, here's all of the prep that has been done, and you can see it's really simple. This is basically everything that you're going to need, with the exception, I think the only thing that I don't currently have on the table is the cooking oil, and I'll be using olive oil. The recipe does call for vegetable shortening, but I'd rather use olive oil, so personal preference. So we have 1 cup of chopped carrots, 1 cup of chopped potatoes, 1 cup fresh or drained canned green peas. Okay, this is a little bit more. I just used the whole can because I didn't want the leftovers to go to waste. A medium onion chopped, 1 6-ounce can of tuna packed in oil. Okay, and this has been drained, but I did reserve about a tablespoon of the oil. That will come a little bit later. A 1.5 cups of milk. Over here I have a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, and then on this little platter here I have 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. So that's it. Nothing more than that. It took me maybe 5 minutes to get all of this chopped. If you are interested, it was about a medium potato, okay, a medium-sized potato, to get a cup of chopped, and same with the carrot. I used a fairly large carrot, so if you wanted to plan ahead. So the next thing it says is I need to combine the potatoes, carrots, and fresh peas if you are using fresh peas. Okay, if you're not, you're gonna not add them right away, but you're going to cook the carrots and the potatoes in boiling water and it has to be covered. Okay, you're gonna bring it to a boil on high heat, cook until the vegetables are tender for about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead with that right now. Make sure you get all the extra out of there. All right, I'm gonna turn up the heat. So while those are, boiling away, I have here a 9x9 pan, okay? It says to use a 2-quart casserole. I really don't know what that means, but I used this last time when I made it and it worked out really, really well. So you have to grease this. It says to grease well, and what I have here is remnants of a butter packet. So I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of it out and give this a really good buttering so that none of it sticks. Meanwhile, while that's all happening, I forgot to add, you must preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Yes, don't forget to do that. Almost forgot to mention that. So it's well buttered. I'm gonna set that aside. We're gonna go take a look at how those carrots and potatoes are doing. So the potatoes and the carrots are on the boil. Now, the recipe says that you're going to only use 1 pot for this. So once this is finished, you would drain this off, and then you would set the potatoes and carrots aside, and then you would reuse this pan. But it's more time effective for me to actually use another pan. So in this separate pan, I've got a tablespoon of the olive oil. They call for vegetable shortening, but it's a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'm going to put my onion in there. And you want to saute these onions until they're golden, okay, for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to break them up a bit. All right, let's see how these are doing. I'm just going to give them a little poke with the fork to test their tenderness. Yeah, they're about there. Fork tender, falling apart. Okay, so I'm going to drain this off, but before I do that, I'm going to grab a ladle and I'm going to reserve a 1/2 cup of the cooking liquid, because we're going to need it. All right, these are looking gorgeous. They're starting to become a little transparent and they are starting to brown. So the next step, this pan, oh, that's what I get for using antiques for everything. It's a little wobbly. So to this pan now, you're going to add the salt, the pepper, and the flour. I'm going to add my salt and pepper first. Give it a mix. You want to evenly coat your onions. I'm just going to have to hold on to this. Okay, and I'm going to add my flour. So essentially what we're making is like a roux, like you would for soup. And it doesn't say this. I have experience with using, making roux for soups and for different creamy textured things. What the book doesn't say that I'm going to suggest is that you just cook this a little bit longer before you add your liquid, because sometimes flour can actually, you can still taste flour in something that you're preparing if you don't kind of cook it off a little bit. Okay. Perfect. Now I'm going to add the milk. And that's 1.5 cups of milk, and then the remaining 1/2 cup of the cooking liquid from the potatoes and the onions. And now I'm going to make sure that I keep an eye on this. Cook it nice and slow. and I'm going to scrape the bottom. You want to be careful that you don't scorch your milk, okay? But the flour is going to eventually thicken this up into a nice sauce. All right, as you can see, this is really thickened up into a really, really nice looking sauce. It smells pretty good too. All right, I'm just going to turn the heat off of this and let it sit. I also, over here, added the peas to this mixture. Now, obviously if you were using fresh peas, those would have been boiled together. But since I was using canned peas, I added them after they were fully cooked so that I could bring the temperature of the peas up. So let's head back to the table and assemble this bad boy. See how it goes. So again, you're going to drain your tuna, okay? And you're going to reserve 1 tablespoon of the oil that comes in the can. I've got that right here, okay? And so now we just layer everything. So you layer half the veg in the pan. Okay, not a terribly thick layer. All right. Actually, it says the tuna goes after the white sauce, so I'm going to put some white sauce on the bottom. This is really going to be hearty. And you know what, friends? If you are not of the tuna persuasion, I wonder if you could put like beans, maybe some gigantes or some broad beans in this. I bet that would be gorgeous. Okay, so we got white sauce, and now I'm just gonna scatter some of this tuna along the top. All right. Just making sure that it's spread out nice and evenly. I'm doing all of the tuna in this layer. All right. And then the remaining veg over top. I love peas. I have to say, fresh peas are great, but I grew up on canned peas. So they have a special place in my heart. Okay, I'm just going to spread that out a little bit. And then I will add the remaining white sauce. I'm going to have a proper spatula on this one. I should switch hands. Oh boy, I'm not left-handed. Scrape all that goodness out. Alrighty. It's so funny because I'm sure many of you know I'm a violinist by trade, which, you know, for the most part you have to be, you know, to be a decent violinist, you have to be quite capable and dexterous with your left hand. And I am as a violinist, but when it comes to anything else in life, my left hand is completely, like, it's rubbish. It doesn't work for anything else. I'm definitely not ambidextrous. All right. Spread that out a bit. Lovely. And then the last part is I've got my 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, and I'm going to take my tuna oil and mix them together. This is going to be the top dressing. I'm doing this right over top of the casserole so that I don't get breadcrumbs everywhere. Okay, that's a good consistency. It kind of reminds me of the consistency of when I make stuffed artichokes. And I'm just going to sprinkle this on top. Get all that precious, precious breadcrumbs out of there. All right. Perfect. And because, just give me my hand a quick rinse, because I'm a huge fan of pepper, I am going to add just a little bit more crushed pepper on the top. All right, so this is ready to go. All right, it says to bake until the crumbs have browned and mixture bubbles, 20 to 25 minutes, and then you serve directly from the casserole. So I'm going to put this bad boy in, and then we're going to have a little lunch together. Does that smell good? All right. I had it in for about, I don't know, 20 minutes. So 20 to 25 minutes. I had it in for 20. And let's serve this up. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, it's really, oh, it got really, really thick and creamy. I'm going to move this out of the way. Just give you a little show here. I'm probably going to sear the inside of my mouth, but now I already know how this tastes because I've had it before, but just the same. My mother used to make a dish when I was a kid. It was creamed tuna on biscuits, and it's very similar to this. Now, I'm talking about American biscuits, like the fluffy ones. And it was a quick and easy meal for her, and we loved it. And it had peas and tuna in a sauce, and she'd spoon it over biscuits, and it was lovely. It really was. This reminds me a lot of that. Potatoes are perfectly done. The breadcrumbs on the top give it that little bit of crunch. And the peas are gorgeous. Like I said, I added more peas than the recipe called for. It doesn't matter. I really think that if you wanted to go with more veg, if you were feeding more people, that you'd easily, increase the amount without any change to the taste or anything like that. So I had everything on hand for this recipe, and it took no time whatsoever. It's nice and warm, it's delicious, it's filling, it's hearty, and it was super easy. I would say, this is being one portion, kind of a small portion, but this would feed 2 to 3 people, this recipe, easily. And if you use it as a main dish, if you use it for a side, it would probably feed more people, but super easy. And I know from experience, since I've already made this, that when you are, done with your one portion and you put it away into the refrigerator and you do a reheat, it's even better the next time around. So that's 2 out of the 3 recipes that I've tried. I am 2 out of 3, 2 thumbs up. They were both really, really delicious. That carrot pie is going to be the most interesting out of all of them, but I'm going to tell you, so far so good. And I think I might be pleasantly surprised by that carrot pie when it comes time to make it. So give this a go. This is really quick and easy if you need something quick to put together. Not bad at all. You probably all will have, unless you're not a tuna eater, most of the stuff on hand. You can make substitutions however you want, depending on your personal taste. I say give it a go, and I think it's totally worth it. This would be perfect on a glorious, glorious winter day with the snow falling and it's cold and claggy outside. I can't say that for today because it's 50 degrees and sunny. Oh well, I'll take it. So that's it for me, guys. I hope you really, really enjoyed this. And I'm really looking forward to the carrot pie, but doing even more recipes in this book. There just seems to be so many lovely things in here. I really look forward to just kind of experimenting. So thanks so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and of course the thumbs up. And don't forget to leave your comments. If you have any questions about what I did, this was not as intricate as my other cooking videos, but I don't think it really needed to be. It's a simple recipe. Take care, and I will see you all really, really soon. So long.